Hello and welcome to my channel. I just want to hop on real quick and let someone know, just give some words of encouragement to um, anyone who's going through a divorce right now in this tough time. I've been divorced twice. Well, not really twice because one of them didn't really count. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Anywho, I just wanted to give some encouragement and some tips of some things that you can do to kind of get through your divorce um, in a godly manner or a godly way. And it's already a tough time to kind of wrap your mind around what's going on, especially if you have children and your finances are getting ready to change in a drastic way. So having God in the midst makes it a little bit more, it makes it easier, period. Like it's, you're still going to go through tough times, but just having God on your side makes it so much easier. So the first tip I wanted to give, and you may see me looking down because I have my notes, but the first tip I wanted to just say is seek God for confirmation. If you know that this marriage is not working out, this is something that God has been pricking on your heart with, showing you sign after sign that this isn't the right relationship for you. Go to God in prayer, seek God and ask Him, what steps you need to take. How do you go about getting out of this situation? And He will definitely point you in the right direction, because sometimes our feelings get in the way. And you want to make sure that it's not something that God is saying, this is something that you can work out. This is the relationship I have for you, but you just have to work through some things. So you want to make sure you go to God in confirmation. And just a little testimony. When I filed for divorce twice. The first time my son is coming home from school, so you might hear him come in. Hey.
You make a video?
Yes. How was your day?
Good.
All right. So yeah, the first time I filed, it felt wrong. It felt like I wasn't supposed to do it at the time, even though I had every right to file. The timing just felt very wrong. So, I prayed and I asked God, and He told me to not go through with it. And so I didn't go through with it. But the second time I filed, it was all about timing. And I went to go file, and I didn't really have the money to file. Some of my family members helped me out with filing. And, it was just, even though I had to get help, the timing was right, because in the midst of everything that went on when I filed and trying to, do custody of my son, some things happened along the way. And, God showed me favor. But just to let you know that sometimes, yes, God is telling you to get out of that situation, but you want to go to Him so that the timing is right, because He could have a blessing in disguise for you and you not even know it if you move before you're supposed to move. And another tip I wanted to give was don't go backwards. And what I mean by that is, during this time you're vulnerable, and you get lonely, and you want that sense of security, you want that sense of comfort, but no exes while going through the process. I didn't do that. I made that mistake, so that's why I wanted to give that tip. No exes. I learned my lesson. And why, I'm telling you guys, like, that's a big mistake. Don't do it. Because during that time, soul ties that maybe you hadn't healed from the beginning, they get stronger, and it makes it harder for you to break those soul ties. And you're at a vulnerable state, so it's easy for people to play on your feelings, and it's easy for people to take advantage of you. So don't go backwards, because going backwards, it is a very familiar spirit, and familiarity makes us feel comfortable. So we would rather go back to something that we're comfortable than going through the process alone, where we have to feel all the pain. We have to go through every step of the way alone. So the enemy knows our weaknesses, and he will definitely use those to put you in a spot that will make the process harder for you. So just don't go back. And there is I think it's in Genesis, a message in the Bible where the Lord is trying to save Lot and his wife, and he sends the angels, and they tell them, get out of town and don't look back. Well, Lot's wife looked back, and she turned into a pillar of salt. So you don't want your look back to kill you in the midst. You don't want your look back to block the blessings that God is about to pour into your life. So it's very important to not look back. Another tip I wanted to give was surrender it all to God. The children, if you have children, the finances, your ex-husband, the bills. And I say surrender him to God, because God can move in him to make the process go easier, or to move in him to allow you guys to not fight, allow you guys to work it out. So you want to surrender him to God as well, and just pray, for your children, and do whatever it is that you need to do to try to make the process go as smooth as possible for everyone involved. Surrender the loneliness that you're going to feel. Sometimes you may feel all alone. You got to go to God when you're feeling that. Hey God, I'm feeling a little bit lonely right now. I need you to comfort me. Show me what it is that I need to be doing in this moment, so that I don't let the spirit of loneliness take over me. So surrender it all to God. Another one is allow God to heal you and show you who you are during the process. It takes a lot of healing. Sometimes we lose ourselves in the midst of relationships, and we don't know who we are when we come out of it. So you got to allow God to show you who you really are, and to heal that brokenness, heal that pain, heal the wounds that you carried into the marriage without even knowing, so that when he heals you for that next person, you're not taking all of that into your next relationship. So you gotta allow God to heal you. It's painful, but it's absolutely worth it. It's tough. It's really tough when you're on a journey like that. It's special, and I'll share my little testimony. While going through my divorce, I was trying to build a business. I was trying to raise my children on my own. I have 3 children. And I was going to school to get my degree, and also during that time, like, finances was getting ready to change, so I was going through a whole lot at one time. But when I tell you, the grace of God is so good, it's so sufficient. He will give you the grace that you need to get to where you're trying to go, and the devil is gonna fight you tooth and nails to not let you get to the point of where you need to be. But you got to hold on to God's word. You got to stay in his word, and you got to hold on to your faith, because God will come through. You just got to have faith and trust in him. Let's see. Another reason you want to allow God to heal you, because once you've gotten out of the relationship, a lot of past hurt and trauma that you've dealt with, that you haven't healed from, this is a great time to, allow God to open those up, open those wounds up, and get total healing. This is a time where you want to get back to being a person who is whole. And in order to become someone who is whole, you got to go through the healing process. You got to go through the pruning. And when I tell you it's tough, it's difficult, but I promise you, once you get through it, you are going to be so confident in who you are. You're going to know who you are. You're going to experience God's love like never before, because you've allowed him to come in and do exactly what he's good at, healing. He's good at delivering. So you're going to allow him to do those things, and you will gain so much faith during this process, because you have nothing else to lean on but the word of God. You have nothing else to trust in but God. That's just how low that I was in my process of divorce. I can't speak for everyone else, but I was at a very low point that I had no choice but to lean on God. And he has kept me, and he has brought me through. I'm such a stronger person. My connection with God has become a level of, like, I can't even understand it sometimes, but I'm so thankful and grateful that, that part of my life took place, because if it wouldn't have, I would never be who I am today. So trust the process and allow God to work. And, it's okay to seek godly counsel and professional family counseling. If it's difficult, it may be difficult for your children to adjust to the new changes that's going on. And it might affect, their social life. It might affect their schooling. So, I suggest that, you seek professional family counseling, and also seek godly counsel, a pastor of your church if you go to church, someone that you've connected to on a spiritual level who you can trust. It's okay to get that counsel, because along the way, God will speak to you through those people, and he will guide you to do exactly what it is that you need to do, so he can get you where he wants you to be. So it's very important to have those people in your life. Some tips that helped me along the way, that kind of strengthened me to, remain on my walk with Christ, is prayer, writing or journaling, and getting outside of my comfort zone as far as enjoying God's creation. I started a lot of going to do like nature things. I used to go to the mountains. I started exercising more. Just doing things to make me relieve some of that heaviness and the stress that I was feeling that came along, with what I was dealing with. And what also helped me was the urge of not failing my children. I feel like I am all that they have, so I was putting myself in a position where I can't let them down. So that helped me to keep my fight. That helped me to keep going, every day. So those are some of the tips that, that can make the process go a little bit easier, by expressing yourself in journaling and writing. Even though if you don't know how to explain what you're feeling at that moment, just write. I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I just need a sense of relief. Whatever it is that comes to your mind, just write. Just write it out on paper. And you will see the growth in how you write, from where you started, where you come from. And where you're going, where you're at that moment that you look back, you will see the growth in, where you started from. So, and I just say that, like, this process is one of those situations where you can't do it in your own strength. Especially when you're doing so many things at one time and you have no idea how you're going to make it through. You can't do it in your own strength. If you're depending on your own strength, you're going to fall. But if you're depending on, God's strength, He will never let you fail. With God's strength, it is impossible to fail. You will be tested. You will have some things that don't work out, but it's going to be for His glory, and everything is going to work out the way that it should work out, because everything works out for the good of those who believe and love in the Lord. So it's going to work out. It's things that has to happen to reroute you, or that pain has to come that will give you it will give you the drive to overcome, some of your fears. It will give you the drive to do things that you didn't know that you had in you. So with God's strength, it's definitely needed, and you will come out on top. So, and that's one of the reasons why the channel is named Queens Come With Favor, because through the whole process, I went through some things. It was a point where I had to go to shelters for food. It was a point where I lost my vehicle. And during all of those things, they happened, but God also restored. God also made ways for me and my children. We never went hungry, but I had to go through those things I think it was because God needed me to remain humble. And He needed me to only depend on Him. And during this time, I was isolated. He wouldn't allow certain people to help me, because He was pruning me for something. He was pruning me for such a time as this. He was preparing me for my testimony. He was giving me strength to be able to uplift other women and be able to share my story as a testimony, so that you can know that with God, everything is going to be okay. It's going to be okay. So I pray that this word touches someone. And if you are going through the process, I pray that God gives you the comfort that you need, the strength that you need to endure, and the perseverance to always keep pushing and keep your faith in Him. And always remember to spread love, seek light, and mind your own blessings. All right, y'all. Until next time. Bye.